And this film is being marketed to either specific QAnon believers or to people who believe all of the same tenets as QAnon, but claim they don't know what it is.
And The Sound of Freedom does focus on a real issue of sex trafficking.
How'd that make you feel? Giving a child his freedom.
Felt good.
You have been at this for 12 years.
Welcome to Night News. Before we begin, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Giselle, a former beauty queen in Tegucigalpa, Honduras, gets in touch with Roberto, a less fortunate father of two. She gives Miguel and Rocco, his little children, contracts to sign for child modeling. They are escorted to the photo shoot after he agrees. When he returns to fetch his kids, they have already left. It is very evident that the children were forced into prostitution. As a special agent with the Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, in Calexico, California, Tim Ballard executes arrest warrants against people who have or are in possession of child pornography. When Chris, a different agent, notes that despite having apprehended numerous child predators, they haven't been able to stop even one child from being exploited, the arduous duty has a significant negative impact on his personal life, which is made worse. Tim remembers Chris's remarks, even though he knows that most of them are in other countries. While speaking with the predator Ernst Oshinsky that he has apprehended, he gives the impression of being a pedophile. After gaining Oshinsky's trust and setting up a meeting with a child who has been trafficked, he is able to find Earl Buchanan, who purchased Miguel. Tim befriends Miguel after saving him, and he later seeks Miguel for help in locating the other kids. Miguel alerts Tim to the fact that Rocco, his sister, is still missing and that he needs Tim's help in finding her. Before Miguel makes plans to go back to Roberto's house, Tim offers him his sister's St. Timothy bracelet. After some searching, Tim locates Rocco in Cartagena, Colombia. He encounters Vampiro, a former accountant for a cartel who is now working to defend minors from sex trafficking. After hearing about a child sex club that was shut down in Thailand, Tim decides that this is the best pretext for assembling several of Giselle's children for a sting operation. Tim is helped in his search by wealthy individual Paul and Colombian policeman Jorge. Tim's HSI boss, Frost, advises him to come back to the country because he cannot afford to pay for the therapy. Instead of giving up on trying to find Rocco, Tim decides to leave his job. Tim's rescue mission receives support from the Colombian employees of the American Embassy thanks to Frost. But Rocco is not one of the 54 kids Giselle promised to give them. While remaining stealthy, they are able to capture every member of the conspiracy and release them. Jorge speaks to one of Giselle's staff members and learns that Rocco was sold to the Colombian Revolutionary Armed Forces, who are safely hidden away in the Amazonian rainforest. Jorge informs Tim that there is no way to locate the girl because the region is a remote wooded wilderness that has never been explored and because flying over any areas controlled by rebels is prohibited by the Colombian government. Tim decides to pose as a doctor after Vampiro informs him that medical professionals are allowed to visit the area. Jorge agrees to the risky surgery against his will. Vampiro and Tim attempt to infiltrate the enemy but are halted by the rebels who only allow one of them in, forcing Tim to enter on his own. Tim manages to get inside the enemy camp where Rocco is being held, where he learns that she is being used as the rebel leader El Alacrans, also known as the Scorpion, personal sex slave, and that she and the other prisoners are being made to crush coca leaves in order to produce cocaine, which is used to fund the rebels' conflict with the Colombian government. Tim must eliminate El Alacran in order to free Rocco, and he accomplishes this while dodging the rebels' fire and being pursued. He presents her with the jewelry that Miguel had given him before they split up. Following their return to Rocco's father and brother, the family departs for Honduras. Tim Ballard states in the epilogue that it was because of his testimony before the U.S. Congress that a law requiring cooperation between the U.S. government and foreign countries in cases of sex trafficking was passed. The epilogue claims that more individuals are supposedly held as slaves today than at any other time in history, even when slavery was permitted. The movie debuted in theaters on July 4, 2023. The movie's advance ticket sales brought in $10 million at 2,626 theaters. The movie received little pre-release media attention, according to Slash Film. Projections for Sound of Freedom's first week's earnings ranged from $11 to $15 million, with some projections going as high as $20 million. The film earned $21.3 million from Tuesday through Thursday, raising the 6-day forecast to $36 million. It brought in $14.2 million on the first day, $3.6 million the following, and $3.5 million the third. It proceeded to bring in $18.2 million throughout its first weekend, finishing third with a total of $40.2 million over its last 6 days. Insidious, The Red Door had a restricted release in 3,188 theaters, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny had 4,600 locations, thus many business professionals were surprised by the film's popularity. The movie grossed $24.7 million, an increase of 26%, in its second weekend of release while playing in 3,265 theaters, coming in second only to the recently released Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. The $100 million box office barrier was broken by Sound of Freedom on its 16th day of release. The film took in $20.1 million its third weekend, trailing newcomers Barbie and Oppenheimer. The movie, which had 3,411 theaters playing it during its fourth weekend of release, kept up its strong performance, earning $12.8 million and finishing fourth. On August 15, 2023, the film made its debut in 3,411 theaters all around the world. With $174.2 million in revenue at that time, it was the 10th highest grossing movie in the United States and Canada. Throughout the first week of business, online rumors and videos circulated accusing AMC theaters of delaying performances, interfering with patrons' enjoyment by inventing technical problems, and shutting off the air conditioning. Brandon Purdy, head of theatrical distribution at Angel Studios, asserts that these rumors are not accurate and that AMC added 450 more theaters on July 14 in response to the rave reviews and the enormous demand. 54 reviews are present on the review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes, 54 of which are positive, with a final score of 6.6. The website states at the end that Sound of Freedom is an effective and suspenseful call to action against human trafficking, yet not free of issues in its depiction of the sensitive subject matter. The film had a weighted average score of 43/100 on the review website Metacritic, which was read as mixed or average reviews based on the opinions of 6 reviewers.
Represent the 2 million trafficked children around the world. To spread the word, Angel Studios set up a Pay It Forward program where you can pay for someone else's ticket who might not otherwise see it. If the ticket price is stopping you from attending, claim your free ticket at angel.com/freedom.